control.
Hey everyone, this is Rachel. Thanks for clicking on my video. And I came in today to weigh in on the Queen's Court saga. Y'all, I have sat back and watched so many videos of folks giving their opinions on, what happened with T.S. Madison and Kaya. And I just wanted to come in and just give my 2 cents on it. Now, I have been watching the Queen's Court. I watched the night where, Monique was supposed to come on and they were having technical difficulties and everything that happened that night. And I just must say this. It's sad that these two people that once called each other friend are no longer friends. And the way that it ended was pretty bad. Now, all of this stuff here recently with Kaya, slinging arrows at T.S. Madison, and also Michelle, straight from the A, jumping into the midst of it. It's just a big old mess, and it's just really sad. I'm going to start with T.S. Madison. I think T.S. Madison is absolutely gorgeous. I refer to her as her because that's who she identifies herself as. I have never in my life had a problem with gay people at all. Actually, when I was younger, I did a video on this before too. My best friend in my 20s was a gay guy, and it was one of the most solid friendships that I've had. It was the most fun. I learned a lot from him, and it was like he took me under his wing because I was so young when I met him. And he just befriended me and was very kind to me. And it was funny because when the friendship first started off, I didn't know he was gay. And I actually had a crush on him. And he came to me one day and he just told me, Rachel, you know that I'm gay, right? And I was like, no, I didn't know that, but I guess I know now. And then from that point on, he was very flattered that I had a crush on him, but we actually became pretty good friends. Well, not pretty good, really good friends. So this thing that a lot of people have with, people from the LGBTQ community, I don't have those hangups. I never have. I was raised to accept people as they are and not to be judgmental. My mother always taught me that, while I'm judging someone, we all have to stand in judgment, one day at the end of our lives, and we don't want to have spent our lives in judgment of someone else, because that might be a sin and God might look down on it. Basically, he is the creator. And if we make mistakes down here on earth, we only have him to answer for it. While we're sitting up, judging someone else, I say this. A sin is a sin. And if people believe that homosexuality is a sin, is it a sin that's more weighty than, say, killing someone, lying, disobeying the 10 Commandments? In God's eyes, which sin is weightier? Is a sin just a sin, or do different sins have different values in God's eyes? That's something to think about, And again, I just don't feel that it's my place to be judging anyone. Now, getting back to the Kaya, T.S. Madison, and straight from the A, Michelle, I just think it's a sad situation. T.S. Madison seems to be a very nice woman. I like her. I like her vibe. I liked when her and Kaya were, doing the Queen's Court together. But there were times when Kaya would say certain things about, punks and fags and, all these different terms that she would be using that I felt uncomfortable for Maddie. I just know that if I'm in the company of gay or transgender people, I don't say certain things. That's just like being around white people and they use negative or derogatory words to describe black people or Jewish people or Spanish people. There are just certain things that you shouldn't say, and especially in front of the person. So I had an issue with that, and it bothered me that, there were times that Maddie said something, she would say, Kaya, you can't say that. And then there were other times that she just let it go. And I think it was more so that she felt like this. Kaya was a grown woman. She had told Kaya several times the certain things you shouldn't say, but she couldn't stop her from saying it. So basically, she had to just let it go. It was just the whole situation was just awkward. Now, as far as Kaya, honestly, y'all, my draw to the Queen's Court was Maddie. I It's not that I don't like Kaya, but sometimes her mouth was too much for me. The constant talking about people, shading people. Now, I know that that was a big part and also a funny part of the show, because sometimes Kaya would say stuff and she would have me cracking up. But at other times, it just seemed like she went too far. So at those times, she kind of turned me off, because I am the type of person, I don't, we can have fun, jigging at each other, but when you go so deep, when you cut so deep with the shade, it bothers me. And that's just me. So I didn't like that part of the show. A little shade was good, but sometimes the shade on Kaya's part went a little too far. Now, the whole thing with Maddie and the trademark and all of that, I feel like this. Kaya, was doing her thing before she met Maddie. And I feel like Kaya had opportunities to trademark her own brand prior to when she met Maddie, and when she, brought her Queen's Court to, Maddie's platform. And I find it odd that the Queen's Court was put on Maddie's platform, and it wasn't, it didn't stay on the red couch with Kaya. I believe that the reason why it was brought to Maddie, and this is not believe, it's fact. The reason why that it was brought to Maddie's platform is because Maddie was, more well known. And they figured that because of that, they would get more views, and that's exactly what happened. When it was brought to Maddie's platform and with all of Maddie's subscribers, it blew up. Now, in the midst of all that, I guess Maddie said that she heard that Justin Jay was going to try to steal their name, so she went and had the name trademark. Now, there's some dispute on whether, Kaya, was brought in on the decision to trademark it and given the opportunity to put her money in. Now, T.S. Madison says that Kaya wasn't feeling it. She never got the money. She told Kaya about it, and Kaya never, paid her for, getting the trademark. So I feel like this: if you knew that Maddie was going to get the trademark and that there was going to be money involved and it was your name and you felt so strongly about it, as soon as she got that trademark, why didn't you sit down, Kaya, and say, okay, Maddie, I know you went down and got everything, all the paperwork done. What is my portion? Let me see the paperwork. And then if she'd have seen the paperwork, if she'd have sat Maddie down and saw the paperwork and saw that her name wasn't on it, then at that point, she should have said, okay, wait a minute. You went down and trademarked it and my name isn't on it. And that's when they could have worked out that issue. But it seems like to me that Kaya wasn't concerned about it. So even after Maddie told her, she never went back and confirmed, let me get a copy of the trademark, so I'll have a copy as well, because that's how you do business. If you're in a partnership with someone, whatever paperwork they sign, whatever paperwork comes in, both of you should be privy to it when it comes to that business. And the Queen's Court is a business. So once I found out all of that, I was thinking to myself, well, you didn't, confirm or double check that everything was in order. Once Maddie went and got the trademark, then that's your fault. Whether you came up with the concept or not, once Maddie went down there, looked into everything, spent her money to get the trademark and all of that, and paid the money for it, it was hers. Sadly, Kaya, it was hers. You didn't do the work. You didn't follow through. And then when it was over, that's when you cried wolf. That's when you cried foul. When you split with her and you were back on your red couch, then you wanted to tell everybody that everything was Maddie's fault and Maddie was wrong and all of that. And then it was, starting to call her names and throw shade at her. And y'all, one thing about that I don't like, 1 month ago, little over a month ago, they were sitting side by side, laughing and joking and doing the show, and we were all loving it. It is just a month or so later, and every day is another piece to this slamming of Maddie. Now, I've watched both of their videos, and Maddie asked something or said something in quite a few of her videos. She said, I did not do anything to her. And then she also asked the question, Kaya, what have I done to you? What did I do wrong? Now, if it's about the trademark, like I said, I don't believe that Kaya followed through when T.S. Madison told her about it, because again, once she realized that T.S. Madison was going to go down there and get it straightened out, why didn't she ask for a copy of the trademark? She would have known right then and there that her name wasn't on it. So I don't feel like T.S. Madison stole anything. I believe that she went down there, found out how to get a trademark, paid the money to get it done, got her name on it. When Kaya didn't give the money, it was a done deal for her. Now, a lot of people say that was wrong. I don't feel like it was, because again, Kaya could have had that trademarked before she ever sat down beside T.S. Madison. Why didn't she trademark her own concept? Why didn't she do it? That is a question that people have been asking. And she says she doesn't care about all that, and she wasn't trying to go big and all that. But Maddie has a different vision. Maddie is what we older folks, because I guess I'm considered older, what we call a hustler. She makes no bones about it that she used to be a streetwalker, a porn star and all of that. As my sis on YouTube says, She clocks her own T's. She doesn't wait for you to talk about her or find out about her past. She's always put her past out there. And I believe, and I know for a fact, especially at this age that I am, I just turned 53, a few days ago. All of our past and the things that we went through, the ups and downs, it shapes who we are today. It makes us who we are. Either we're still stupid and we're still doing the things that we did when we were younger, or we learn from our mistakes and we grow. And it seems like that's what Maddie has done. Maddie went through a lot. I've seen her tell stories about things that happened to her when she was out on those streets. All of that stuff toughened her up, and it taught her to look out for number one, which is her. Because in her life, she had people that could care less about her and who threatened to take her life time and time again. So she learned to always protect herself, look out for number one, and I don't see anything wrong with that. That's what Kaya should have been doing. If she was so, hell-bent on hanging on to her name, she should have protected herself. That's just how I feel about the situation. Now, this Michelle, the girl from Straight from the A, I wouldn't have inserted myself in that. Like a lot of people are saying, she has a problem with Funky Dineva. And when Funky Dineva mentioned that Maddie was his friend, then I guess that, just made Michelle see red. And, to get back at Maddie, I guess, and Funky Dineva, she started going in on Maddie. There was the whole thing about the phone number, Maddie's manager giving out the phone number, and then Michelle from Straight from the A was supposedly had posted Maddie's address. It's just a lot of back and forth, y'all. It's just a lot of silly back and forth. All three of these people are adults. And it seems like what was a small issue between Kaya and T.S. Madison has blown up into something that is just ridiculous. I believe that if Kaya and T.S. Madison had just allowed a few days for, each of them to calm down after the debacle with Monique, and then they would have just come and sat down and talked, just honestly talked out things, I believe that they could have squashed this. I believe that a lot of people jumping in, a lot of us YouTubers commenting on this situation, it drove a wedge further between those two. And for either one of them to give in would have probably made them look weak. So they decided just to call it quits. That day when Maddie was crying and Kaya left, I knew that day that it was over. Too much had happened on camera that we all saw and that a lot of people commented on. At the time when it happened, I didn't do a video on it. I sat back and just waited to see what was going to happen. Now, Kaya has started her, went back to what she was doing prior to getting with T.S. Madison. She has her new show called Gag Order, and she's getting some views. Not as many as she got when she was with Maddie. And then Maddie is going to come back next Monday, March 19th. And I'm actually looking forward to, what she says is going to be the new format of the show. And I thought it was a very smart idea for Maddie to take some time. Because after what happened, you need a moment to regroup, reassess, and see, do you want to continue on with it? And if so, in what format will the show be now that Kaya has, left the Queen's Court? So, y'all, I'm curious to know what you think about it, your opinions. Everything that I mentioned in this video is just my opinion. I wish all sides luck. You know, I don't wish ill will on anyone. Now, with that girl from Straight from the A, I just feel like she should have left it alone and stayed out of it. You know, those two were handling themselves just fine. And I believe that T.S. Madison would not, you know, shrunk from anything that Kaya threw at her. And we know Kaya the Thug Missus, she wasn't going to shrink for anything. They could have handled it themselves. If they were going to fall out, then they were just going to fall out. But I think that, you know, inserting yourself into a situation when two people are angry at each other is never good. With that, y'all, I'd love to know what you guys think about it. Leave your comments down in the comment section, and I will see you in the next video. You guys take care now. Bye-bye.